Hello, everybody. Welcome to the info session for the Call for Artists for the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, African Nova Scotian artwork. As I mentioned, I'll just briefly mention the application deadline has been extended from July 12th. For artists interested in submitting, we've extended the deadline to July 13th, as long as everything is submitted before 12 p.m. So I just wanted to make note of that. My name is Seamus McGrail. I'm a heritage planner with HRM, and I'll be moderating the session today. We have three presenters who will also be our panel to help answer any questions: Elizabeth, Maps, and Kate. As we go through the presentation, feel free to ask questions. I'm going to introduce some of the features on MS Teams here that you can use. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Thank you, Deanna. If I mentioned Deanna's name, Deanna is our producer today, and I might mention her name as we go through the slides here, so just so you know who I'm talking to. So on the bottom right of your screen, you'll see a CC sign. This is the closed caption sign. So participants must turn on their own closed captioning. So this means that as we speak, our speech will be converted into text, and you'll be able to follow along in that way. However, you need to press the button yourself. When you press it, if you want to use this feature, you can press the button and just wait a while. It takes a while before it kicks in. So don't press it several times. Just press it once and give it some time to begin to read our speech. If you go to the next slide, please, Deanna. On the top right of your screen, you'll see a button for leave. This session is being recorded, and it will be posted on the Halifax.ca website afterwards for anyone to go and review. And you may leave the session at any point by pressing the leave button. Next slide, please, Deanna. And if you want to ask a question, you have to do so in writing. And you can use the button at the bottom right of your screen where it says ask a question. Just press that button, and you can post the question at any time during the presentation, but we'll wait until the end before I will read the questions to the panel, and then we can answer your questions right at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please, Deanna. You can post your name. So above the question, you can post your name if you'd like. That way your question can become part of the public record along with your name. If you want to remain anonymous, you can click a box under your question that says remain anonymous, and then your name won't be posted, just your question will be posted. And then you click in the box where it says ask a question, and that's where you can write in what you want to say. Next slide, please. Yeah, so as I mentioned, you can just put a question into that box there, and as I mentioned, you'll hear from me again at the end of the presentation, and where we'll begin sort of addressing some of your questions. But right now, I'll turn it over to our first presenter, Elizabeth, and each presenter will present themselves. And I'll just briefly mention that the first presenter's name is Elizabeth, and she will begin the presentation now. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Cushing, and I'm a heritage planning researcher with HRM. And I'll be providing some background on the Interpretive Panel project. So the subject site is at the corner of Gottingen and Falkland Streets in the pedestrian plaza formerly known as Squiggle Park. Reinstatement and construction of the plaza is ongoing, with a placeholder stand for the interpretive panel to be constructed in the summer of 2021. In the map at the upper right corner, the subject property is visible as a vacant lot across the street from the mid-rise building at the corner of Falkland and Gottingen. Next slide, please. The interpretive plaque is to be located fronting Gottingen Street and will be two-sided. The panel is to reflect on the former use of the site as the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, or AMEZ Church, and the importance of the church and spirituality in the African Nova Scotian community. We chose this location for the plaque as it is a high traffic area, and it'll be close to the sidewalk to ensure pedestrian visibility. The general template of the plaque is visible to the right here. However, the colors and the overall design may change based on collaboration with the African Nova Scotian community. Next slide, please. So as mentioned previously, the site formerly contained the AMEZ Church, which was established in 1846. Construction of the church was completed by 1850, and the church quickly became a community hub. The congregation purchased a school building and raised funds for the education of African Nova Scotian children. However, after a decline in the congregation numbers and due to the poor condition of the church building, it was demolished in 1955. Jamaican activist Marcus Garvey spoke at a community church in Halifax in 1937, which may have been the AMEZ Church. During that same tour, Garvey delivered his famed speech that inspired Bob Marley's redemption song in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Reverend Anna Hunter moved to Halifax in 1976 with the goal to revive the AMEZ Church. The congregation met at different venues near the site of the original AMEZ Church. However, despite Reverend Hunter's efforts, the church again closed its doors in 1986. Reverend Hunter was heavily involved in the local community, helping students with learning disabilities and serving on various boards and committees. And now I'll hand the presentation off to my colleague Maps, who will discuss how we got to this point of the project.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Next slide, please. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maps Chidzonga. I'm the Diversity and Inclusion Advisor for Planning and Development. So the art project originated from a discussion about an interpretive panel with planning and development to a call for artists working with HRM Recreation. Planning and Development then met with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion / African Nova Scotian Affairs Integration Office to discuss the interpretive panel idea for the AMEZ Church. An idea emerged to create an artistic rendering of the church based on the photo to include an interpretive panel. The only photo of the church building is grainy and poor quality from the 1938 newspaper. You can see the photo here on the slide on your right. As an art project, the opportunity for an artistic rendering presented an excellent opportunity to engage the African Nova Scotian community in an interpretive project. The interpretive panel itself can include colors from the African Nova Scotian community in a layout similar to the example on the left of the slide here, instead of the blue standard that we usually have. Thereby, this would foster a co-creative and a collaborative approach. The colors and overall design are to be determined based on the feedback from the African Nova Scotian community. Over to the next presenter.
The next presenter is me. Hi, my name is Kate Moon, and I am one of 5 community developers that are geographically based in HRM. My area is the Peninsula, and my office is in the George Dixon Center when COVID restrictions allow me to be in my office, which is not lately. Can you turn to the next slide, please, Deanna? Thank you. So I have been working on community art projects for the last 15 years with HRM, and that's my role with this project. The timeline here on the slide shows us how the project will proceed over the next couple months. So first, June 30th is today, where we have our information session for interested artists. The submissions are then due on July 13th at noon. And so I want to note that it does say 12 there, but we've amended it to the 13th at noon. So 12 p.m. of course is noon and not midnight, to make sure that people get their submissions in on time. And of course, you're always willing to or able to hand them in early if you do have them ready early. A jury will then be evaluating the submissions, and an artist will be selected by the 26th of July. We will meet the artist after signing a contract with HRM on the week of August 2nd, where the artist will get to meet the team and we'll make a plan for how the engagement and development of the project will unfold over the month of August and into early September. By September 10th, the final design will be completed and approved by the community. The artist will then give input on the interpretive panel and how their artwork works with the layout with our in-house designers. And the artist will give input on the unveiling and community celebration that HRM will host. Next slide, please. So each submission will be evaluated on 3 criteria, which are valuable to remember. The first is artistic expertise, which is worth 60 points, and we'll be looking for skills and knowledge in creating artwork. The second is collaboration, which is worth 20 points. And we want to know about the ability to consult with others in creating artwork. If you have collaboration experience, but not specifically with the arts, that's okay. We would love to hear about whatever collaboration experience you have that you think would be relevant to the project. Lastly, we have community connection, which is also worth 20 points. And that's where we want to know about your connection with the African Nova Scotian community, especially in the north end of Halifax, if that's applicable to you, because that's where the artwork will be installed and where the history has happened. The artist who's chosen will receive an artist fee of $5,000, and that will cover their time, design, any artist materials related or travel, etc. Next slide, please. Your submission will have 3 components. The first is a letter of interest, which can be a maximum of 1 page, and that is a time to talk about why you're interested in the project and why you think you'd be a good fit. This is a good time to think about those 3 elements that we're looking for and how we're evaluating. So your experience with the arts, your experience with collaboration, and your knowledge and connection to the African Nova Scotian community, and again in the north end of Halifax, if that's applicable to you. We want to see images of your work, so we're looking for 10 slides that are in a JPEG format, no larger, than 4 megabytes each. And it's very helpful for us for you to put your first and last name as the title of each slide and numbered. So here our example is Jane Smith 1, and the next slide would be Jane Smith 2, etc. If you have pieces that you can reference that are public art, then that is helpful for us. It's also not a requirement, and so we don't want anyone to feel shy about submitting if they don't specifically have public art experience. That is not a requirement. The resume is the third part of your submission. And again, you want to be highlighting your experience with the arts, experiencing collaboration, and things that connect you to the African Nova Scotian community and the north end of Halifax where possible. You can submit either digitally through email to me or on 8.5 by 11 paper in person to the George Dixon Center, which I'll give you that contact info in the next slide. Again, the deadline is July 13th, which is a Tuesday, before noon. The artists will be selected through a jury comprised of representatives from the African Nova Scotian community and HRM. Next slide, please. Here's my contact information. So there's my email address there, moonk@halifax.ca for digital submissions. For paper submissions, you can bring them to the George Dixon Center at 2502 Brunswick Street. And following the session, if you have any questions that come up that are still unanswered, then you're welcome to get in touch with me with any questions or support you may need at moonk@halifax.ca. I will pass it over to Seamus.
Hello again. Jenna, if you can advance to the next slide, please. So our attendees can ask questions now if you wish. Just press the Ask a Question button on the bottom right of your screen. Again, I'll mention that this presentation is being recorded and it will be posted on the halifax.ca website. So if you want to send it to other folks that might be interested in listening to the presentation, you can always contact Kate with any questions afterwards, and if she doesn't have the immediate answers, she'll certainly contact the rest of the panel here to get an answer for you after the presentation is done. But feel free to ask a question now if you'd like. There's no rush. We have heard one question from the public. concerning it's a specific question pertaining to the artwork itself. Does it have to be a 2D artwork, or can it be a 3D artwork? Seeing as an image of it has to go onto the interpretive panel, can it be a 3D artwork, or is it limited to sort of a canvas painting? And I think this question would probably be best answered by our community developer, Kate.
I'm happy to answer that question. I think I have some echo on your mic there, Seamus. Thanks. The artwork does not have to be two-dimensional, though it will be presented two-dimensionally. So HRM is going to photograph the final work that's created to create a digital image that can then be used on the panel. So the work could be three-dimensional in nature, so long as it interprets well being photographed two-dimensionally. And so the artist will want to consider that when they're thinking about what medium or their design. Though of course we're also welcoming in two-dimensional pieces as well.
Great, thanks for that, the question and the response. I don't see any other questions right now. So what I would suggest is anyone in attendance can just take note of Kate Moon's email address. If you can advance the slide, please. Just take note of the deadline extension to July 13th, 2021 before noon. That's the amended deadline for all submissions. And next slide, please. And just take note of Kate's contact information. She's the point person on this project. She can answer any questions, and if she doesn't have an answer for you, she can consult with us, the rest of the panel, and we'll certainly provide a response to you. So if there are no questions, I think we can wrap things up. As I mentioned, this presentation is being recorded and will be posted. It'll be on the Opportunities for Artists webpage on halifax.ca. And I would encourage you to invite anyone who may be interested in this project to listen into this recording. All right, thanks very much for attending and participating in this info session, and I look forward to reviewing any of the creative submissions. So hope you have a nice Canada Day, and I think we'll sign off now.